All right. Welcome home, everyone. It's good to see you again. I'm Jerrel. This is Mountain Home, where I get to share my passion of music and outdoors with all of you. So it's good to see you all again. This is a type of zither, and it's the most common type of zither. If you check online auctions such as eBay or maybe even Facebook Marketplace, this is probably the zither that you will see first and the one that you will see the most of. This is generally referred to as a guitar zither. You are going to see two sets of strings. You will have strings that will allow you to play your melodies here. Then in general, they are diatonic, and then you will have your chromatic. My brain is a little tired after a long work day. And you're going to find some chords here. So you have two sets. You have your set of strings for playing a melody and your set of strings for playing chords. So please excuse me if I stumble a little bit here and there. It's been a very long work week. Okay, so I'll put a link to an excellent player if you'd like to hear this played properly and hear some beautiful Guitar Zither music. I'll link to Etienne de Laveau. It's fantastic. You could listen to his music for hours. That'll be on Facebook. I'll put that in the comments and the description. This is a variation of the Guitar Zither that is known as a Mandolin Zither or Mandolin Guitar Zither. And the reason being is because the strings that you use to play the melody are doubled up as they would be on a mandolin. And I'll show you that there. And that's what makes this different from a standard guitar zither. Now, you'll probably find a decent mix of guitar zithers and mandolin zithers online. Those are the two that I tend to see the most. But just because these are the most common does not make them any less beautiful or any less valuable musically and in terms of having one to own and the value that it gives to you as a musician. I think they're quite beautiful. They're wonderful to have on a display. And unfortunately, many of these were stored in barns or in attics, and you will see them being sold damaged. And it's so unfortunate that that has happened. But sometimes you'll find some that were stored in a case or stored better. What you want to avoid when you are looking to buy these is you want to make sure that there are no cracks in the wood. You want to make sure that you have, at least if you're buying this online and you're having a look, you want to make sure that there are no cracks in the body. That's generally an indication of poor storage, and the instrument could have serious problems. This one has a minor crack along the back. It's not really a big deal in this case. It's quite minor. You want to make sure that if you are buying these secondhand online, that's generally where you are going to find them, that they have all the strings. It's extremely difficult to replace just one string. Having to buy a set is quite expensive. I live in Australia, and it runs me around 150 to 200 Australian dollars to get a new set of zither strings, and that's a fair chunk of change. This particular one that I was able to find locally was in decent shape. It had all the strings, but it was missing the bottom plate. Normally there is a bottom plate here that covers these pins onto where these strings will be attached. It's not such a big deal. This is not a performance instrument for me. I am not proficient enough with this. This is something you absolutely need to spend a significant amount of time, as in general you play flat, and with one hand you will operate the chords, while another hand, operates the melody. But it's something that I have not spent time becoming proficient at, as in general I use this instrument at work for my recordings in studio, and in that situation I don't really need to be very proficient with an instrument. There's a difference between performance proficiency and studio proficiency, and if you are a recording musician and you, especially these days with digital, you can do as many takes as you need really to get things right, then that's totally fine. And if this is something that you just want to noodle around with at home, it's so beautiful. You're not getting the full sound. Really, you want to set this onto a hardwood table. You'll see that there are feet on the back that elevate it, but they transmit the vibrations from the instrument to a wooden surface. And in general, the back will resonate, and that's where you get the full sound, and that's really fantastic. I have this on my zither corner in my studio. I have a couple shelves that sits in the zither corner, and it's up against the wall. And when in that situation, when you strum something and it's up against the wall, the whole room resonates. It's really wonderful. So I've only used this in about 2 or 3 tracks so far with my music, but I'll be using it more as well to just give my music some more variety and more interesting color. I always try to share this bit of advice with people, especially if they're new to using these sort of antique zithers, is I strongly recommend using these T tuning wrenches or tuning keys because you are able to make sure that you apply equal force and you are not pushing perpendicular force down onto the string. I do not recommend these kinds of keys because the reason being is I've seen a number of people damage their instrument because they end up applying perpendicular force and they end up pushing that way or pushing that way, and they end up bending the pin so it damages the wood because they've bent the pin and their instrument is damaged at that point. It's terrible. You can avoid that. Obviously that isn't going to happen with this, but when you are applying torque in one direction like that, you can accidentally do that. You can cause that damage. If you're careful, you can avoid that, but you're still applying awkward force. So I strongly recommend using these T-shaped keys. I also find it a little bit easier because you can have a bit more control over the wrench and you can grip that just a bit more. So this I have as a backup just in case. It's there, but I've got a couple of these and I've always got them in a music case and whatnot. So I hope that was interesting to you. Thanks very much for watching. And again, I'm going to link to Etienne de Laveau if you'd like to hear some lovely music. So thanks for watching. Please take care of yourselves, everyone. If you have one of these, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear your experience with this in the comment section below. So please come home again soon, and I'll leave the porch light on for you.